Brad Keselowski just broke his leg while skiing, and NASCAR is holding its breath. The 2012 Cup Series champion and RFK Racing owner is now in a race against time to make the Daytona 500, and this is exactly the kind of situation that keeps NASCAR officials up at night. Brad went skiing during the off-season, which sounds like a normal thing to do, right? Well, things went wrong fast. He crashed on the slopes and broke his leg. Not just a small crack either. We're talking about a break that needed surgery right away. For a sport that depends on healthy drivers to start the season strong, this was bad news. Brad isn't just any driver. He's the owner and driver of RFK Racing. That means he runs the team and drives the car. Most teams have an owner who stays in the office and a driver who races. Brad does both jobs. So when he got hurt, it affected everything at RFK Racing. The accident happened at the worst possible time. The Daytona 500 is coming up, and it's the biggest race of the year. It's like the Super Bowl of NASCAR. Every team wants to start the season with a great finish at Daytona. Missing that race or showing up not fully ready can mess up your whole year. Brad had to go straight into surgery. The doctors worked on his leg to fix the break. They put everything back together and started him on the road to recovery. RFK Racing put out a statement letting everyone know what happened. Fans were shocked. Social media went crazy with people wondering if Brad would make it to Daytona. But here's what really stood out. Brad's reaction to the whole thing showed the kind of person he is. Instead of complaining or getting angry about his bad luck, he kept things in perspective. He said, "I still have my life." Those 5 words told you everything you need to know about how Brad was handling this tough situation. Kenny Wallace, a NASCAR veteran who knows a thing or two about racing, talked about Brad's response. Kenny praised how Brad looked at the bigger picture. It wasn't just about missing races or dealing with pain. Brad understood that he was lucky to be alive, and that a broken leg, while serious, could have been so much worse. And there was a reason Brad was thinking this way. Greg Biffle, another former NASCAR driver, had been dealing with a tragedy involving a plane crash. Brad shared some heartwarming stories about Greg during this difficult time. Brad's tribute to Greg Biffle showed his character. Even while dealing with his own injury and pain, he took time to think about someone else going through something far worse. That's the kind of thing that makes you respect a person. It also explained why Brad wasn't feeling sorry for himself. He knew things could be much worse. After surgery, Brad started the long process of healing. Broken legs don't fix themselves overnight. He needed physical therapy, rest, and lots of hard work. The doctors gave him a timeline for getting better. The good news was that everyone believed he could be ready for Daytona. But getting ready for Daytona wasn't just about the leg healing. Brad had to get his fitness back. Driving a race car is harder than most people think. You need strong legs to push the pedals. You need core strength to handle the G-forces. You need stamina to race for hours in a hot car. All of that while your leg is still healing? That's a huge challenge. The team at RFK Racing had to plan for different scenarios. What if Brad wasn't ready in time? Who would drive the car? What if he was ready but not at full strength? How would that affect his racing? These were questions the team had to answer while Brad was recovering. History was on Brad's side, though. NASCAR has seen drivers come back from broken legs before. In fact, several drivers have raced with serious injuries and done well. The sport has a culture of toughness. Drivers don't like to miss races. They push through pain and injuries that would keep most people on the couch. There are stories of drivers racing with broken bones, cracked ribs, and all kinds of injuries. Some even won races while hurt. So while a broken leg is serious, it's not something that automatically ends your season. Brad had examples to look at and say, if they did it, I can do it too. The medical team worked with Brad every day. They monitored how his leg was healing. They adjusted his therapy based on his progress. Every week brought new milestones. First, he could walk without crutches. Then he could put full weight on the leg. Then he could start light exercise. Each step brought him closer to being race-ready. Meanwhile, RFK Racing kept preparing for the season. The crew didn't stop working just because their owner-driver was injured. They built the cars, tested parts, and made plans. They knew Brad would want everything ready when he came back. The team showed loyalty and dedication during this tough time. For NASCAR as an organization, this incident raised important questions. Should there be rules about what drivers can do during the off-season? Some professional sports have contracts that say athletes can't ski, skydive, or do other risky activities. NASCAR has always given drivers more freedom. But when a star driver gets hurt doing something outside of racing, it affects the whole sport. The Daytona 500 sells tickets and TV advertising based on which drivers are racing. If Brad Keselowski can't race, that's a big deal. Sponsors pay money to have their logos on his car. Fans buy tickets to see him race. TV networks promote the race using the biggest names. An injury to a major driver affects all of that. But NASCAR also understands that drivers are people. They have lives outside the race car. They have families, hobbies, and things they enjoy doing. Telling them they can't ski or do other normal activities seems unfair. It's a tough balance between protecting the sport and respecting the driver's personal freedom. As the weeks went by, Brad showed steady improvement. He posted updates showing his progress. He worked out in the gym. He did physical therapy exercises. He pushed himself hard to get back in shape. The determination that made him a champion on the track was now focused on recovery. The racing community rallied around Brad. Other drivers sent messages of support. Teams that normally compete against RFK Racing showed respect and encouragement. That's one of the special things about NASCAR. Yes, they compete hard on the track, but off the track, they're a family. When someone gets hurt, everyone comes together. Fans were worried but hopeful. They wanted to see Brad at Daytona. They knew he was tough enough to come back. Social media was filled with messages telling him to take his time and heal properly. Nobody wanted him to rush back and risk making the injury worse. The countdown to Daytona continued. Every day brought the season opener closer. Brad's recovery timeline and the race date were on a collision course. Would he make it? The question hung over the entire NASCAR world. As Brad got stronger, he started doing more racing-specific exercises. He worked on the muscles he would need to drive. He practiced the motions of getting in and out of a car. He tested his reflexes and reaction time. Every part of being a race car driver was checked and prepared. The team built a special plan for his return. They wouldn't just throw him in the car at Daytona without preparation. There would be tests, practice sessions, and careful monitoring. Safety was the top priority. Brad needed to be fully ready, not just barely able to race. NASCAR history shows that drivers can overcome serious injuries. Some of the sport's greatest moments came when injured drivers fought through pain to win races. Brad knew these stories. He used them as motivation. If others could do it, so could he. The business side of RFK Racing kept moving forward. Sponsors were assured that everything was on track. Partners were kept informed of Brad's progress. The team projected confidence that their driver would be ready when it mattered most.